Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hashtag no music, no intro. We are back. The Saints Block Party podcast coming at you, presented and brought to you by Precious Works LLC. For any of your business website needs, reach out to our guy, Bajan. He will hook you up. And surprise, we have ESPN's Mina joining SBP again, the esteemed Mina. And I'm just going to, before we jump in, talk about the Saints, let's talk about all the things that Mina has accomplished in her offseason with Celebrity Jeopardy, Script Spelling Bee, just been on an amazing tear. And obviously, you know her from the Mina show featuring Lenny. Just finished up a NFC podcast with our friend from NFL Daily, Greg Rosenthal, where there was a lot of Saints talk. And perfect week to have Mina on. Drew Brees is going into the Hall of Fame. There are a lot of Saints buzz. And I just anyway, all that said, thank you for coming on and joining us a second time on SBP. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, Saints fans, if you're listening to this, if you're not a Saints fan, that's weird. Please check out that'd be very strange. Go check out the NFC South preview with Greg. You can watch it on youtube.com/@MinaKimes. Like y'all said, a lot of Saints talk, a lot of Saints enthusiasm, shall I say? Greg kind of checked me on it a little bit. So you guys can say, Greg Rosenthal, no longer friend, Mina Kimes' friend. I was fun. I said this on the pod, but it was really fun to do the prep for that because the NFC South, at the end of this off, it kind of limped to the finish line. But it was fun to It was fun to revisit some of the divisional matchups, to watch some of these quarterbacks in particular. And I had a really good time watching it, and it led to some enthusiasm.
And we've talked about when anyone in big media talk about the Saints, like typically there's this like little pause and a sigh before like whatever someone's going to say. But this is like the first time we've been doing this podcast 6+ years. Like the enthusiasm, the excitement, and the buzz is like through the roof. So what was it about like the team build this off season that really got you excited? Because you predicted this, spoiler alert, but you predicted them to win the NFC South on the NFC South preview. I don't know if you regret that or not, but all the moves they made in the offseason, what just got you excited that this team could maybe take a step forward in their journey and their team build?
Well, starting with the roster and I think just the team build in general, I mean, big part of the reason why a lot of us nationally have been skeptical, kind of since the end of the Drew Brees era is just the way Mickey Loomis has approached building this team, the way he's approached how he spends his money, the age of some of the players, some of the bad contracts he's given out, quite candidly, and I think he's pretty deserving of criticism. But it kind of feels like they finally ripped the Band-Aid ripped the Band-Aid off on a lot of that. They finally let some of those contracts expire, got them off the books, finally embraced a little bit more of a youth movement. And I think, they've hit on some players. I think the coaching staff looks really good based on what we watched last year. So I think there's enthusiasm there. But it all starts with the quarterback, right? Because it's hard to get excited about a young ascending team potentially if you can't get excited about the quarterback. And, I was a Tyler Shough fan going into the season. Y'all can go check out my the draft preview or quarterbacks preview. I talked about him at length. And I was a fan after the season and revisiting his tape. There was a lot to like. which we can get into, that made me excited to watch more this year. And then they go back to the team build too. I love that they were just so clearly bent on trying to improve the circumstances around him this offseason, which also made me excited to watch this year.
Yo,
no, you preaching to the
What
choir.
are you looking at?
Man, I'm checking out this website. This site is cheeks, bro.
In the 21st century? How do you have a crappy website? Couldn't be me.
They need to hit up our guy Bijan with Precious Works. Precious Works offers to not only build you a website that's tailored to you and your customers' needs, but also to continue to manage and maintain it so you can focus on your business. Don't have much time? Precious Works is just what you need. No out-of-the-box stuff like Squarespace or Wix. Precious Works will create a site for you. You won't have to worry about plug-in updates, security, or things like that because Precious Works will maintain all of that and be available to you 24/7. Bijan set up Saints Block Party Podcast website for us a few years ago and hit it out the park. He also keeps it up to date and helps us anytime we want to add something new like a form or prospect matching tool that we did for the NFL draft. It's like having your own personal developer just a text or a call away. Precious Works has worked with everyone from small businesses to large firms, so no job is too big or too small. If you're in the need of a website or you currently have one, but you want to upgrade it, give Bijan a holler at Precious Works. You can get with him at Bijan at Precious Works, BIJON at precious.works, or go to precious.works for his website. Make
Also
sure to
made
tell
me
him Saints
excited to
Block
watch
Party
this
sent
year.
you.
No, you preaching to the choir for us because we have been banging the Saints Need Juice table for as long as we've been podcasting, because even in the Drew Brees era, Sean Payton had this thing where, he always thought he could find his own, another Marcus Colston or create another Jimmy Graham or something like that. So it was just years where they just kind of neglected the juice on the offense. And it hit a rock bottom last year. I mean, it were just the guys they were putting out there for Tyler Shough. It was ridiculous. But what made Tyler Shough exciting was he was actually looking good with those guys, with Kevin Austin Jr., with, Devon Valet, who they just, pulled with a quick trade. And one of the things I noticed with Shough is, his stats weren't great. Like if you just pulled up his stats and you looked at him, it's not like going to pop out at you. But he was definitely one of those guys you just had to actually watch. Yeah. And then it's like, it's a nice throw like that. And I noticed all the people like you, people I love like you, Greg and a lot of other people, all knowers who I like to call them. After they watched, they were like, hey, this guy's all right. He's pretty good,
Clearly the best, I thought, of the rookie quarterbacks. I'll start there. Last year, I just watched Cam Moore. I mean, Cam Moore, I do think Cam Moore's ceiling is very high, but it is undeniable that the tape that Tyler Shough put out last year was better than his. I thought it was better than Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. I think he just looked NFL ready. And I know people say that, well, of course, he's like 35. But, it's not something you can take for granted, honestly, because there are some quarterbacks who never develop that ability to stand in the pocket, go through the progressions, hit the backside of a concept, throw over the middle of the field. Greg and I both landed on a similar comp, and Saints fans did love this. And I'd like to just take a moment to say why it's a good comp. Ryan Tannehill, people forgot at his peak was a very good NFL quarterback. In fact, that Titans offense, when they were making playoff runs, they were extremely, extremely good. So we both brought up Ryan Tannehill because of the toughness, which was something that really stood out to me upon rewatch, the functional athleticism, and again, those ability to throw over the middle of the field. And I think that's a really good comp for any rookie quarterback to be compared to. It's flattering.
I had the same. I wish I could go find it in a Discord.
You sure did.
I said it. Ryan Tannehill with some Josh Allen parsley, like this sprinkles on there.
Hey man, that Bucs game, I was like, he was scrambling.
And people forget that Titans. Ryan Tannehill was pretty good, man.
Really
I know he was Derrick Henry. It was the Derrick Henry show back then, but he made some big time throws. So I love that comp. I was like, yeah, let's go. If that's the case, if you can get that in the second round,
totally, yes, exactly right. And the other thing, with Shough is you talk about the lack of receivers. I think the thing that really also jumped out to me that was not appreciated enough was zero run game, and statistically, I think I said this in the pod, ranking with the Raiders last year.
Sure.
And a lot of that had to do with the offensive line and the constant injuries and all of that, which also I think is a credit to Shough, right? But I do think there was clearly a desire this offseason to get, more physical up front, to bring in some juice, signing Travis Etienne. And if he was able to be that good with that bad of a run game, even like an average run game, I think will lift his floor as well.
One thing Ryan and I have talked about this is, I believe when Greg did on NFL Daily, he did the quarterback draft or quarterback rating, like Shough was like around 22. But I'm just curious to know what people think of, like, when we talk about this leap for Shough, like quantifying, like what is like, so I'm asking, like, what a leap look like to you in year 2 for Shough? I don't know if it's like statistically or just like
I got statistically. He's got to take fewer sacks. That's it. That's the number one thing I want to see. Because like there's a little bit of things like you want to, a little bit more anticipation. Again, that's true of literally every young quarterback on earth.
Right.
Yeah. I think a little bit more pocket movement improvement to stepping up in the pocket against pressure. But generally, like the number one thing I think he's got to get better at is taking fewer sacks. And there's a litany of reasons for those sacks. I gave a little bit of context on my pod that, the time to sack was actually not that high, which suggests the offensive line was definitely the culprit for some of them. But going back and rewatching, there were some sacks that were clearly on him as well. Just classic rookie stuff, not throwing it away, not taking the check down, wanting to get to 3 when he should just give it up on a play. But I think those negative plays, if you can eliminate them or lessen them to, at least maybe an average level, that will also really make this offense more efficient.
But what was funny about him, in college, he would throw the ball away
I know.
so quickly.
That's why it was so surprising. Yeah.
Yes.
And he was just the complete opposite in the NFL.
Yeah.
It was like, what happened?
It almost felt like he was determined to prove that he was not.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I had him on my show, actually. We joked about this. People should go check out. It was a great interview. Loved him. Mm-hmm. Super, super personable. I think you guys have seen that. New Orleans seems to love him. Yes. Really, just like a chill dude. But anyways, I can't remember how it came up, if I brought it up, but first of all, he was kind of clearly like aware of some things I had said, and which was great. I love that. I love a little sass, And I remember, was very like, I will take hits. I will stand in the pocket. I will see, I'm not afraid of contact. And then going back and watching him, it almost felt like he was trying to prove a point at times. Right. Because he had so many throwaways in college and it was coming off of the injuries. So I do wonder if there was like a little bit of a psychological aspect as well.
Yeah, where he swung to like the other end of the spectrum, right? Yeah. In terms of trying to prove people wrong.
Gotta find balance.
The balance. One thing I think Ryan and I are just very fascinated. We've seen today was the first day of training camp where the Saints put pads on, just in regards to like what Kellen wants to do offensively.
Yeah.
Attacking defenses. Now that he has a better idea of this is his team, this is his offense. Now he has like the weapons with Jordan Tyson, with Chris Olave, with Etienne, Noah Fant, and Oscar Dupp in the tight end room. How could you potentially see Kellen adding on what he did last season, but with the weapons and a more kind of functional, more juicier offense that he has going into year 2?
I think if the run game is functional, that will open up a lot of opportunities, whether, it's play action or the RPO game. They were Kellen, and Kellen is a really great RPO designer, going back to obviously Philadelphia and LA. They were hamstrung at times by the fact that defenses just did not respect the run as they should not have. So I actually think, for him, getting to create more plays where run pass conflict actually puts defenders in conflict. Healthy. Because going back and watching the Saints offense, it's well designed. The way, I think he's very good at using motion to give his quarterback indicators, man zone, but also to create like space and leverage advantages for his receivers. I think he did a good job of, figuring out like what Shough's strengths and weaknesses were and kind of building the passing attack around that. And that's going to continue developing. It's year 2, right? Full season. But I do think that run game is going to, as much as like, the addition of Jordan Tyson is something I'm excited about. Dell potentially adding some blocking juice, more 12 personnel, all of that. That's something to monitor. I do think it starts with just not having like the worst run game in the NFL.
I was going to add, I think it shows his adaptability because I remember we had Cody Alexander on the pod going into Kellen's first year. He talked about like the lack of motion that Kellen historically just didn't use a lot of motion. And he used I think they were like in top 10 in using motion in terms of, so just his adaptability of what he can do as a play caller.
Totally.
And one of the major additions, big money additions this offseason was David Edwards. I think going from, Trevor Penning / Reduns to, David Edwards, I think that's a huge upgrade. Now there's still Cesar Ruiz over there. We, just got to hope he plays better.
God.
And then
I did not realize how bad he was until
bad.
But you know who I like, and I think I said this to one of you guys. I can't remember. I had Kevin Banks Jr. as my X factor, and he was one where the rewatch really was kind to him. Second half of the season.
Oh, I'm so happy you said that.
He looks like he could be a dude. Yeah, Fuanga needs to take a step forward. But Banks Jr. looks, he's so athletic. Like the way he moves out there, it's just something you can't teach.
No, you could tell he was still figuring it out as far as obviously, how to pass protect, but you could tell he has, I don't know, there's something with those guys that you could tell. I did a film study every week for the offense last year, and just watching him progress over the year, you could tell he's just not a guy that's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's not going to be like a repeat offender or whatever like that. Now, as far as the Saints defense, that's one of the real big questions because they punched above their weight class last year, which just surprised everybody, surprised the hell out of us. But then it's Brian Brzee, he's going on IR.
Yeah.
They don't really have a lot of defensive juice, but it's a lot of solid players.
Yes.
It's what do you expect year 2 of the Brandon Staley Saints?
I think that's well put. There's solid players, which is an improvement, over past years.
Right.
But there's not superstars. I think Young at times, Chase Young flashed superstar ability.
Yeah, he did.
Talked about that on the pod. Fun rewatch, by the way. But yeah, there's still a few missing pieces in the second. You had young players who really excited and took a step, whether it was a Sanker or Riley or whatnot. But it does feel like they're still missing a stud at all 3 levels, candidly.
All 3.
However, the thing I'll say is this, because the Saints defense, we talked about this, statistically finished great, even in stats that take account of opponent like DVOA. And the second half of the season really started to come together. I thought Brandon Staley did an excellent job. I know there's some apprehension. I was because the FTN Fantasy Almanac, which is great, people should check it out, is pretty low on them. And, then they, I think, mentioned, or at least Aaron mentioned to me, second half performance is usually not predictive. Yeah. Fair. However, have you looked at these NFC South offenses? I'm not saying that they're going to be awful and just benefit from competition, but I do think the division, when I look at this division and these offenses, maybe the Bucks, have some upside there. I do think they're good enough to handle the NFC South. I really do. Maybe some of the elite opponents less so, but I do think they were well coached enough and solid enough across the board. And it's Staley's got his work cut out for him because they didn't add right other than bringing back my beloved Caden Ellis. This was clearly an offense focused offseason, and he's got to earn his pay.
Something that we don't talk about enough is football fans, people in general, getting enough sleep.
And it's weird, bro, because I'm kind of known for getting my sleep on, but it ain't sleep. You need that sleep,
that good sleep. And because of that, we are happy to talk about our new sponsor, and that is Some Sleep. Some Sleep is a sleep aid that you mix in, contains melatonin, contains magnesium, and it will help you get that good sleep throughout the night. If you are a Saints fan and at nighttime you're thinking about Marcus Williams missing that tackle, you thinking about that no call, you thinking about Vernon Davis.
Bro, I'll be sitting there 4 a.m. just looking at the ceiling. Alvin Kamara breaking tackles, some sleep, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of skeptical, man. It's clutch, bro. It calms you down. You take, you just drop it in some water, about 8 ounces of water, about 30 minutes before you go to sleep, stir it up, throw some ice in there, knock it back. It tastes good. It got all kind of different flavors like tangerine and mango. This the berry mix right here. You knock it back, calms you down to get you ready for sleep, and then you just like, out is that peaceful sleep.
And because they're our new sponsor, that means if you are a listener to this podcast, if you go to Get Some, that is GETSOM.com, and use the code word Block Party, you get 10% off of your first order. So we are hooking up our viewers and our listeners of the podcast. So if you want to get that good sleep, knock out and relax, then go to getsome.com, use that Block Party code or the referral link that we're going to put in our social media, order you some, and then you will be sleeping like this.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
And he's got to earn his pay.
Figure it out. And we and Ryan have talked about this. Like, they have a great litmus test the first 2 weeks. They have the Lions, and then the Ravens to start the season. And so Brandon Staley, like,
wow,
show us what you got.
Really good run defense last year. So those are two very run heavy teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, the reason I'm looking at my phone, not to be disrespectful, is you ever get the Instacart notification where they're like, there's no bread at the grocery store.
The replacement.
There's bread at the grocery store.
Just get some bread, man.
It's always the dude who's like, I can't find bread. Here's a picture of an empty shelf. Okay. I'm not sorry to stereotype, but it's just true.
Daughter both say like you would be a terrible like Instagram shopper. Like I get it now, I guess, because I can't find anything.
My son logged onto my Instacart the other day and ordered 10 mint chocolate chip ice cream. He's 3. I was like,
oh my
God. I gotta create a password for this. Sorry. Back to the Saints defense.
You'll figure it out.
But I mean, just the last one I had is kind of not Saints specific, but just what is intriguing you or just exciting you for this upcoming NFL season? There's a lot of storylines that are out there, but just as a ball knower, ball watcher, like what is getting you like very intrigued?
Oh, well, I'll keep it to the NFC South. I think it feels like kind of make or break for 3 of the 4 teams. I don't know what the hell the Falcons are doing.
No clue.
No idea.
I think that's a bummer, right? Because if you're a Falcons fan, it doesn't feel make or break if the stakes are just completely, like, it feels like they're treading water for no reason, sort of. Right. I mean, there is a reason, which is
they feel very similar to how the post Drew Brees Saints seasons were. Like, getting Derek, trying to like getting Derek Carr, like just trying to like, and not having like the self-scouting ability to realize like, hey, like maybe we should kind of tear this down to the studs type of thing.
Yeah, it's confusing. But the Panthers have to figure out Bryce Young. The Bucks feels like this version of the Bucks is kind of like it. Like either it's now or never. Todd Bowles,
so fascinating,
hot seat guy. And then for the Saints, I think like, you know, the young quarterback, can he build on last year? Because it's too early to say, but if you've hit on the rookie. Good. Frankly, Derek Carr in Vegas. I know we were just talking about him, right? Or Oakland.
Oh,
second round pick. If you hit on that, that is a godsend from a team building perspective. And you can continue spending money to add around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they've got to figure out this year, right? Like, do we feel good moving forward? Is this a guy we can win with? I don't even think he needs to be a win because of quarterback. There's like 6. Like, if he's because he looked like one, right? But if that's confirmed, you got the coaching staff, you got the good young quarterback. You finally have cap space. You're in a winnable division where no one else knows what the hell they're like. You can make this thing competitive for years. So exciting time, I think, and then you can actually go spend money on like a pass rusher in a corner and stuff, the things we're talking about that you need. So I'm optimistic. I'm excited because it does feel like, and this is why I ended up picking the Saints, it does feel like the NFC South is ripe for the taking. I know that's always true, but
we'll see. My last one, it's a small 2-parter. One, are you a little hyped for some Jalen Milroe? Because I am.
Ooh,
I want to see some Jalen
draft
Milroe.
bay.
And 2, when are we going to get more Mina, like debating economics and AI and all that stuff? That was the little show you did with Pablo. That was
AI.
That Bloomberg.
Bring Bloomberg Mina back.
You and Pablo and all those guys. Yeah,
I just got interviewed from like Wired magazine about tech, and I went on this like AI rant, and I'm like dreading when that comes out. Your first question, sorry, the AI thing was about
Jalen Milroe.
Oh, Jalen Milroe. Okay, so I'm actually going to Seattle on Friday, so I'm going to be at camp, and I'm very interested, not just in seeing him, but also getting the boots on the ground perspective. Mm-hmm. Whether, because obviously he didn't really do anything last year, so I want to see if there's any enthusiasm or interest around him, because we just don't know. He's just such a mystery at this point.
Right.
By the way, Rattler's still the backup, right? Who's behind him? Who's
Zach
behind
Wilson.
him?
Zach Wilson, yeah.
Okay,
and he's looking like Zach. He's looking like Zach Wilson.
I was just about to say someone should trade for Rattler. I know I got like grief for saying he looked good, but I'm telling you, again, going back, he was not that bad, and it really wasn't his fault. So I actually think he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. But you might not want to trade him.
But yeah, before like the Bears in Tampa Bay like debacle, where it kind of just all kind of crashed down. But no, it wasn't, especially with the rewatch and everything.
Like if I was the Cardinals, I'll make a call. But
that's what I'm saying. I'd rather have Spencer Rattler starting than like Carson.
They just paid Jacoby like whatever. Although the Cardinals makes a lot of sense because he's from Arizona. Like that would be a fun little homecoming. But anyhow, thank you, Mina, for coming on to SBP again. Saints Block Party Podcast. We truly appreciate it. Great conversation, fun times. And then maybe, like Ryan said, maybe there's the Bloomberg Mina. Is it
maybe
coming?
Yeah,
coming back, making an appearance.
Maybe. Don't get me started on algorithms and bad social networks and
I need it.
Please, Saints fans, go check out the NFC South pod.
Please.
It is my least viewed and a divisional preview.
Come on, y'all.
That's why they don't talk about us.
I know. I'm trying to be an NFC South respecter, and you got to show up. If you want national people to talk about your teams, you got to show up. So get in the comment section. Tell Greg why he's wrong and why you're ripping off the Saints badge and giving it to me. So.
Thank you. We'll hype it up. We'll put it in our Discord. We'll put it everywhere. Make sure y'all check out the NFC South preview with Mina and Greg Rosenthal. My daughter calls him White Greg for some reason. Don't know why.
Where we at on, speaking of nicknames, where we at on Shuck Boys? I started it.
Shuck Boys.
You don't like being a Shuck boy? The great thing about Tyler Shough is his name lends itself to so many.
So much.
So many.
We call him Onk. QB Onk.
That's a good one.
That's my Onk. So many things.
Which is crazy because he's like, what, 26, 27? 20,
still a kid to me,
but because he's that's Onk.
It's really funny. Isn't he like older than Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I want to say he's the same age as Zach Wilson or older than Zach Wilson.
Probably why, in addition to like being able to read defenses, he's cool.
Right.
Because he's not 22.
Exactly. He's just like, cool, got a kid, got a wife, just like whatever, man.
Set. Anyway, we could talk all day. Thank you so much for coming on, Mina. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out the NFC South preview. With that, we are out.
Peace.
He says there's no salmon.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.